It looks like she got in. Wonderful. Um, it's great to see so many people at this meeting. My name is Kayla. I am the president of the LISSA group, and a few of my other vice president, co-chairs, fellow people who help make LISSA what it is are also here. So I think what we'll do is just all of us will introduce ourselves, and we actually have a decent turnout. If people want to come off mic, off mute and introduce themselves, you're more than welcome to. But obviously, no pressure. Just want to keep this as, as involved as you want to be. So again, I'm Kayla. I am in, I guess, like halfway through the program at Rutgers. This is my third semester. I'm doing it part-time. So I work full-time and participate in classes part-time. And I guess as like a fun icebreaker, I had said share your favorite dessert because I am craving sweet things right now. And my favorite dessert is chocolate chip cookies. So I'm going to have our Vice President, Peter, introduce himself next.
Hello, everybody. Yeah, I am the vice president, and I joined last semester. This is actually my second semester in the program. I'm a full-time student, and I also working as well. So I guess we're trying to, plan out a bunch of like fun events that we can like get people on to discuss various topics. So that's kind of like what we've been trying to work on lately, and I was trying to get a handle on all the websites and updating them as well. Still can't get access to the Instagram, but whatever. Um, Other than that, yeah. My favorite dessert, I guess ice cream. It's a good one.
And I see Ellen and Nancy are both here if you guys want to go next.
Sure. I just graduated last month from the program, and thank you. And I promised everybody I'd stay around for this semester to provide support in any way that I can. And I really like cupcakes.
I'm sure many people are sort of familiar with Nancy already, but Nancy, if you want to say anything, you're more than welcome to.
Oh, actually, I see a lot of new names. So thank you everybody for coming. I'm Nancy Chronic and I am the faculty liaison to this group. So I don't have to talk about desserts.
Yes, that's, yep, no worries. If anyone else here wants to introduce themselves and just sort of say where they are in the program, their concentration, you're more than welcome to. So I'll like stop speaking for a minute, but also no pressure if you don't want to.
I could pop in quick. Hi, my name's Annika. I am in my first semester. I'm in the LIS concentration, and my favorite dessert is tiramisu.
Mm.
Hi, everyone. My name is Alice Michelle. This is my second semester. I am on the school librarian track of the program. I actually already work in a middle school, so I kind of just like lucked out and fell into the position on the contingency that I go get my MLIS. So here I am, and I'm excited to make things official and earn my keep here in the position and do it justice. And I've been really enjoying like the background knowledge of things. So like I'm currently taking cataloging and I'm like, oh yeah, I've been messing that up. So yeah, I'm glad to be learning from everyone. And this is a great program and I'm just excited to be here. And I'm more of a snacker, like salty snacks over desserty stuff. So guacamole and chips are like my game. Popcorn, lots of butter. So more sweet than like savory.
I'll go. My name is Natalie, and this is my first semester in the program. I'm doing LIS, and I would say my favorite dessert would be chocolate cake.
I can go next. Hi everyone. My name is Vanessa. I am in my first semester of the program and I'm doing the LIS concentration. And my favorite dessert I would say is tres leches.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ashley Aaron, and I am a first semester archives concentration. And I also am not necessarily a big fan of desserts, although I will eat them. They're just not really what I crave. Instead, I also like savory snacks. Like guacamole is good. It is a very good one. But also just chips and salsa, way too good for how simple it is.
I'll piggyback on that. I love chips and salsa. I make my own homemade chips and salsa. Like I love savory over sweet. But if I had to choose, I do like flan a lot. Flan is really good and tres leches, so shout out to that. But I am my first semester and my concentration is archives and library science. And if anyone's taking intro to, I think it's technology, like coding, please, we need to connect because I need some resources and some guides. It's very difficult. It's my first time. I don't know anything about web language, but it's very fascinating.
Hi, I'm Emily. I guess I'm technically in my second semester. I'm in the MI 5-year program, so I'm also finishing up my undergrad right now. But I'm in the archives concentration, and my favorite dessert is also flan.
Thanks everyone who decided to share. And if there's anyone else who wants to introduce themselves as I'm speaking, feel free to, raise your hand on Zoom or interrupt or anything like that. But we really just wanted to have a sort of casual, informal first meeting of this group just to see if there was anyone who was interested in joining us, and to obviously attending all the events we do, but we are also we have several positions open in our executive board right now as well, including I think secretary and treasurer. We don't really need a treasurer, but some of the other positions we have are called member at large, webmaster, which Peter is doing double duty on as well right now, and saving me because yes, I also took that intro to technology class, and there should be a support group for it. It is like kind of tough when you're coming in with like no background knowledge, but made it through. So, I mean, I'm not sure that I have like much to help, but if you have questions, I'm definitely down to try to answer them. I was lucky enough to have a brother who was a computer science major, so that helped me a lot. But anyway, so we are the Library Information Science Student Association here at Rutgers. I'm dropping our website that Peter has kindly been updating into the chat. So if anyone wants to check that out. And basically what we do is organize events with people, in our field, in our various professions, as the information profession can span several different groups as we're all learning. Previous events that we've done, we used to call them chat and chills. So meeting with previous alumni of the program. We did an event last semester on how to get an internship and how to make it part of your coursework here at Rutgers. We've done events with NJLA's president and executive director. And some of the things we're hoping to do this semester are events around social media, misinformation, disinformation, resume workshop or interview prepping, networking, so things of that nature. We are, of course, super open to ideas if there are other types of events that people are looking to see and want to have. Like, please always feel free to reach out, and I'm going to drop both our LISSA email and then my personal email into the chat as well, because that'll be a great way to get in touch with us quickly. And right now, tentatively, our next event is scheduled for the 26th. We mostly meet on Wednesdays at 6:30 p.m. So trying to keep a regular schedule makes life easier for everyone. So hopefully this time still works. And since you're all here, you're probably on the LISSA listserv, but if you're not, feel free to reach out and let us know and we can help you do that because it's not super easy. I think the other, bigger plug I want to put in before I turn it over to questions or other members is when you are a member of LISSA, you also can get a student discounted membership in ALA, which is the American Library Association. So I'm also dropping that link, which I know is a lot of information all at once. So yeah, Peter or Ellen, if you want to chime in case I missed anything, that would be great.
Yeah, I guess we could talk about the next event we're planning. We want to talk about social media, misinformation in social media. So we have to kind of hopefully get speakers for that, which is always difficult to get people to, schedule schedule. But yeah, we'll figure that one out. And then after that, we wanted to talk about another event talking about legal issues and information rights. That should be a pretty interesting one. That one's a ways off though, like in March or April.
Yeah, that's Nancy's talk that she's doing for
Yeah.
the colloquium that we're going to cross promote because I think it sounds really interesting.
Yeah, that sounds cool. And then probably like a resume workshop we could do, which is always a ongoing thing people need. And yeah, that's pretty much what we have on the docket. We'll probably add more stuff going forward. But
Yeah, actually, I just saw your question. We do meet primarily online. We have yet to do an in-person meeting. I'm located in New York City, which is not that far from New Brunswick. I don't know if everyone here are online students or if they're in person or not. If there's enough interest, I think we could definitely put together something in person. It would be pretty cool. It really would just be making sure that we get enough people to like make it really truly worth it. But I think that's definitely a possibility. But for now, we do meet primarily online. And that's a great question. So if anyone else has questions, please feel free to either just like reach out, unmute, drop them in the chat, whatever your preference is. Ellen, is there anything you wanted to say? I think I just added one more person from the weight room, which is great that people are still joining. And yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, we could definitely look into trying to put together something in person, whether it happens, simultaneously with being able to stream for those of us who are not New Jersey based. We'll try, technology can do wonders these days, and we'll try to figure it out. Is there anyone, I guess also I'll open this up to people because I know we have a lot of people who are in their first semester, which is awesome. If they have questions about the program, oh, Alice, thanks. I will definitely reach out. If they have questions about the program in general, the concentrations, classes that we've all been taking as we've commiserated over intro to technology. I think there's a lot of archives people on this chat, and I just attended the info session for the study abroad program that we offer through Rutgers, which is like the summer session, which sounded really cool. I don't know if everyone has yet heard about that, but applications are due March 1st, I believe we were told. So I would, Marie Radford is running it, and she's definitely happy to talk to people if they want to reach out about that as well.
So Kayla, related to, that's the British libraries where you actually go to
Yeah.
the UK. Marie is about to retire. Did she say anything about whether or not the class will continue after she retires?
She didn't. She did mention that she was nearing retirement. She did not give us a timeline on that.
Yeah, that's why it's in June. She usually goes in July, August, but she's retiring at the end of June. So the reason I'm telling you all this is I don't, if you're interested, you can't put it off because there's no guarantee it'll happen again.
Mm.
She's been going for years and her husband is British, so she spends a lot of time in the UK and she really usually I know Kay Castle, who also teaches in the program, was also going.
Yeah, she went last time. I don't think she's going this time. I think it's Lilia this time.
Lily's going,
yeah.
right. So yeah, so maybe Lily will pick it up. I don't know what'll
Maybe.
happen to it in the future, but it's listed under special topics, which is always challenging because They come in different numbers, but you have to open them up to see what the topic is when you go to register. But all of these special topics courses are really interesting, but we don't know in advance necessarily, other than this one, because you have to pre-plan, which special topics courses are going to happen. They do a lot in the summer, but they do them both semesters as well. But they're definitely worth keeping your eye out for. You know, you see this list and you say, oh, I want to do this, that, and the other thing. But the special topics courses come along, and now sometimes the special topics courses become a real course. I shouldn't call it a real course, what do you call it? A course that's on the list, but they have to go through the curriculum committee, and it can take a while for them to get approved. So, but sometimes they're just fly-by-nights, so you never know.
Yeah, no, thank you. That was really helpful. I did not realize this was potentially the last time that it
Well,
was.
I don't know. I'm sorry she didn't tell you, so you could tell me. But yeah, I'm not sure if they'll continue it without her, since she's been the spark behind it for a lot of years, and students love going. Now, there's also a international children's literature class that's given, I think it's in the spring, and it's being given now by Mark Aronson, and they go to the Bologna Book Fair for a week. So that's also international. And they used to do it, sometimes collection development used to go to the Frankfurt Book Fair, but I don't think they're doing that anymore. Those are well, there was another international course that was in the journalism department, but I think they allowed some of our students to go. And so if you're interested in international travel, I mean, my own experience as a librarian, I've been all over the world, and I say become a librarian, see the world. So, yeah.
Yeah, so I guess I'll turn it back over to anyone else who might have questions about LISSA, the program, courses, what they should take. Feel free to chime in. Thanks, Michael. Denise Augusto is meant to be teaching a course on misinformation in the fall. Yeah, that's sounds like it's probably something quite timely that a lot of us will be interested in, given the current ongoings. Yeah. Like Nancy said, we did ask Denise. We're open to changing the date. It doesn't necessarily have to be the 26th, but we are going to try to stick to Wednesday evenings at 6:30 so that we can keep consistency for people who are in the group. They know when to expect. I know there's a lot of other things that other student groups do, so we want to make sure that we're not infringing on anyone else's time and forcing people to choose between one event and another one. Oh, Sarah, that's a great question. Taking a course from another university to count towards our degree and the process to apply for that. I actually don't know a lot about that, Nancy. It looks like you might.
Well, I know enough to get me in trouble. It's not the simplest. There's some guidelines on the website if you can find them. Basically, they have to be related. You need to get a copy of the syllabus and submit it to the program director, Lilia Pavlovsky, and they have to be taken within 3 years. So you can't just pick up something that you took 10 years ago. So a few of the programs, those of you who are in archives, we have a relationship with something called CHAPS, which is cultural heritage and I'm not sure what maybe preservation, what would the S be? Something. It's in art history. It's a master's program. It's focused on museum and cultural studies. Studies, that's what the S is. Yeah, I think it's cultural heritage and preservation studies, CHAPS. It's at Rutgers. If you go onto the archives web page, concentration page, it's talked about at the bottom. And so that's an already semi-established relationship that I think has some really interesting courses that relate. I know a lot of people in the program, including I think Kayla, have background in museums or other cultural institutions. So that could be an interesting possibility. So there's interesting options at Rutgers, but it doesn't have to be at Rutgers. Now there's other programs that we used to have an inter MLIS program where you could take courses at other library schools. It was reciprocal. And I used to have students all the time. It was great, but the school that managed the program dropped it and they have not picked it back up again. But it was a really great opportunity to take classes that other schools offer that we don't offer. So, and vice versa. So, but there are other library programs, and there's those of you that are interested in archives and preservation. There's a major rare book school at the University of Virginia that's internationally renowned that some people show interested in. They have a lot of summer programs. So there's all kinds of possibilities out there, both within Rutgers and beyond, that you might explore and talk to your advisor about. But if you decide you want to do it, then you're going to need to apply to the program director, who also manages the internship. So we did an internship event in December. You can watch it on the video. Ellen was one of our stars. And I think students really found it fascinating to learn with 3 people that had internships. And we learned about their experience as well as how to apply and you know, hopefully how to use it to get a job. Those, by the way, are internships for credit. We post all the time internships, and we encourage students to do internships. And some of them pay, some of them don't. But to get credit for it, and if you're in the LIS concentration, I don't know about the other concentrations, it is considered a required elective so that it would fulfill that part of your requirements as well. So, so it has much to offer. When I advise students, if you have experience, I don't think it's important to get that kind of internship, to take one, unless it's really something specialized that you really want to do. I think it's a great way to get your nose under the tent and get some experience if you don't have it already.
Yeah, one thing I'll say is I've noticed, at least in some of the courses I've taken in the LIS concentration, a lot of them ask for you to pick an institution, a library, a public library, and sort of study it. And so by nature of the way these classes are structured, you are forming relationships with people who work at these public libraries. So I reached out to a few of the libraries surrounding my hometown in New Jersey and met with some of their staff and the library directors. So that's like also been a really great way to sort of build the network, is by taking some of those classes. So one of them was Kay Cassell's public libraries class. I took collection development management, which was also structured very similarly. Something I'm looking at taking this summer is the museums and information technology course, which seems like it might have a similar research-based component as well. As Nancy mentioned, I sort of have a background in museums, I guess. I work my day job is fundraising. So I've worked at New York Public Library, Smithsonian Associates. I'm currently at the 9/11 Memorial Museum. So if anyone's interested in any of those places, also reach out to me because I can definitely speak to my time working there in the administrative side at the very least, and how I did have relationships with people in program as we worked on grant requests and funding for any of their projects that we've been working on as well. So I'm on LinkedIn, Kayla Pontoro, happy to connect there too.
So the other thing though, and I think, Ellen, if I'm not mistaken, you did this, that if you say study a library and write a paper for a class, it's a great opportunity then to ask that library if they would host you as an intern. So it can work in multiple ways. Your classes that have you doing work connecting with libraries or other institutions.
Yeah,
And the archives program, does archives have to do internships?
I'm not sure. Archives people.
And how about Peter? You're always our data scientist, right?
Yeah, no, there's no requirement to do an internship, but it definitely it helps to, do one. I mean, I'm doing one right now. So, like I'm not
Oh, an
yeah,
internship.
yeah, I'm not doing it for school or anything. Like I just like for the experience and also I get paid. So, you know.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, so that's always a plus. But yeah, it's always good to get the experience along with, obviously the education.
Yeah, I think the other observation I wanted to make, I guess, to anyone who is especially in their first semester, is the way a lot of classes here are structured is like final projects are all just going to build on each other. So try not to fall behind, I guess, especially in like 500, where it's like each assignment is going to build upon the next one. So, which is great because at least in my opinion, when I'm coming together to do my final paper or my final project, I've already done a good chunk of the work and it feels all very like real world life work relatable, so it doesn't feel like busy work, which is something that I've noticed as well. So I think that's also helpful to keep in mind, like as you're picking stuff to do your projects on, if you can pick it to be something that's really what you want to work on once you graduate, that's only going to serve to benefit you in the future.
So I know somebody said she was in the school library program. School library program, you have to do, I think it's more student teaching officially than an internship, but that's required and they're helpful in placing you, I think. We're not so helpful on our on the
Yeah, that
on the
was me.
non-school side.
Yeah, that was me. So I'm like interesting circumstance because technically I work as the librarian at my middle school. So I wouldn't really be able to leave work during the day. So I mean I'm not close to that. But that's a conversation that I'm going to have. Like, what is the option for me to be able to um like get that requirement completed when I already have a full-time teaching job in that position? I'm like kind of an outlier.
Well, and maybe they'll just apply what you're doing, which would be great.
Yeah. I mean, it would be nice to be able to
I don't
maybe
want to
like,
speak. I don't want to speak for the school library program because they don't let me near you guys.
yeah, obviously I'll have to reach out and get more clarity on that. But that would be a bridge to cross in another semester.
So does everybody know about the career resources people and that database and how to find out about? I mean, from what I understand, they post a lot of jobs in it, but I haven't personally applied or worked with career resources. I don't know if anybody wants to speak up about that experience since all of you are here for career purposes, I assume. So pretty important part of your studies. Nobody has experience?
I could talk about it. So I
Oh,
posted in the chat. That's the job board for what's it? The SCI. Was it the Communications Information Department? So I mean, that's where I got my internship. So
oh, great.
yeah, there's a large diversity of internships and even jobs, part-time, full-time, on there. So it depends, like what, you know, you have to like obviously sift through it, go through it, and see like, all right, what kind of experience do I want out of it? So, but yeah, that's a great resource. The people who post on that, it comes directly from employers. So they're specifically looking for people in this field, in the information communication field. So that's one of the good things about that's like that makes it better than LinkedIn. It's like LinkedIn can it's like more like a broad brush. So you're kind of getting everything, good, bad, or whatever. So one of the benefits of that, more private job board is that they go to that board to post. So they're specifically looking for your kind of knowledge base, your kind of skills for those kind of positions. Um, so hopefully from that, you get better outcomes. More likely to hear back from them, more likely to get interview, and you know, if you get an interview, more likely to get a job, get an internship. Um, so yeah, I would definitely recommend that. I don't have much experience using. I forget who's the person who does career exploration.
LD.
LD? Okay. Yeah.
Forget her last name. I just, sorry, I did it twice. When I was still working with the libraries, we created a LibGuide for Sky, and it has each specialty within Sky. So I just gave you twice the LibGuide URL so you can take a look at that as well. And we've got a lot of other background materials that we put together. It's not an exhaustive list. Uh, a lot, because our, I think it's called Handshake. It's a national system, but you can look at jobs that aren't just posted for Rutgers, or can you just look at the Rutgers jobs, specific
Um,
jobs?
for the one I posted.
No, for Handshake, for
Oh,
the
Handshake.
database.
Yeah, I think you can look outside. I don't really use it, but I'm pretty sure it has jobs anywhere on there from anyone who posts on it, I believe.
So
It
what
has
we
jobs,
tried to,
it has jobs for the whole United States.
Yeah.
So if you're
and
willing
beyond
to
probably.
relocate, yeah, if you're willing to relocate, there's all kinds of job positions there.
But they don't just let you into the part that is posted for Rutgers
Right.
students. It's just postings generally.
Well, you can specify what you're looking for.
So in our guide, so people post there, but there's lots and lots of sources for each of your specialties. So what we tried to do was find other sources in the specialties. I mean, you all probably know LinkedIn's a source, Google jobs, whatever, but there's lots of specialty jobs. So if you're in the New York metropolitan area and you're in libraries, archives, schools, whatever, there's a group called Metro, which is an organization out of New York. They have fabulous listings every week of jobs that may not get in other places. The same with like the New Jersey Library Association and NJSO, which is the School Library Association. And Peter, you may know more about organizations that are not library related. But all of them, there's a lot of places to look for jobs, and everybody doesn't post on Handshake. So it's a good idea to get familiar, particularly with your area. I just posted recently, I think, there was a session about federal library jobs. Of course, I'm not sure it's a very good time to be looking for a federal library job, but well, yeah. So, yeah. But there's tons of these different job boards. And so it's good to get familiar with ones that are related to where you live. If you live in Pennsylvania, the Pennsylvania Library Association, or, all of these groups have local affiliates as well as national affiliates. And so it's just learning about where to look. And plus, like in the library field, at least, all the specialties have journals or listservs that post just for those specialties. So, for example, there's a group that out of ALA called Programming Librarian, and they post all kinds of positions for people interested in programming.
There's one that's
Not
oh,
computer programming, like programming public programs. Yeah. Sorry.
I'm sorry.
Go
I
ahead,
apologize. I was
Karina.
going to say there's a really good one that I look at that's Library Link and J, and
Yeah.
it's the New Jersey jobs that and then there's another one. I'm going to pull it up right now that I would look at, and that's all of the United States. And there's also archive jobs and stuff like that. I'll pull it up and then I'll.
I don't have access to this
Oh, I found it.
guide anymore, so I can't easily update it, but it's a great idea to get familiar now with all these different lists. So every one of these associations has job boards. Library Link is the group within New Jersey that does training for all New Jersey libraries. And so, they're one group, New Jersey Library Association, the schools. I mean, there's just a whole bunch of those different groups that post. So,
What do you think about joblist.ala.org?
yes, definitely.
Good one. Okay, because I look on there and they have a lot of library and archives and like school related and academia and all that.
So some of these job lists are free and others are not. So in my experience, I'm a library trustee, and we recruited for a new library director, as well as we're constantly looking for like part-timers and all. So we only posted on the free ones. So some of the ones, like if you're interested in academic work, the Chronicle of Higher Education is a really good source. I don't know if that one's free though. It's free to subscribe to it, but I don't know if it's free to post. So like ALA Jobline, I think you have to pay to post on it. So it's got a lot of great jobs. And if you're a member of ALA, I get a weekly job list. I don't know if it's from my membership or my subscription. So, so this is what you need to sort of learn about, though, for all of you. There's so many of them. And believe me, from being involved the way I am, different groups post different places. When we're hiring a part-time clerical person for my local public library, we're not going to post it nearly as widely as we would, say, for a professional job that we're doing a much broader search. So,
I have a question.
New York, if you're in the region, Pennsylvania, New York, Connecticut, I mean, look in each of those states as well as look for, the national boards, because they show up.
The other good thing that the career resources offer is, I believe it's Tuesday afternoons, that you can do a drop-in resume review, and you can do that in person or online. You can also make an appointment, and they're very helpful and very knowledgeable about the job market and what your resume should look like.
So the university also has a central career resources group, and they also help. And so that's another resource. And they have all kinds of career fairs. Now, I don't know that for the person who's here that is in the 5-year program, they focus more on undergraduates, but they have at least 2 career fairs a year on campus.
I have a question. Are the ones that you pay for, is it more guaranteed a job? Is it like, are you getting more out of it, or
Well,
is it the same as a free?
so when you're the employer paying, you're
Oh,
getting more reach. Not necessarily more reach, you're getting that reach. So if you want to advertise nationally, the American Library Association is a great resource. If you want to advertise just in New Jersey, there's lots of free resources just in New Jersey. So you probably wouldn't spend the money to post it on an ALA list,
I
for
noticed if I
example.
go directly to the library that I'm interested in, they would have it, and it wouldn't really be on, like, Indeed, LinkedIn, or stuff like that. So I usually would look at places that's nearby, and then I noticed that on their website they have it listed opposed to anywhere else.
That's another important resource. And it's, if you want to stay in a small region where you have the time to look, that's a great thing to do. I mean, I think part of the art of job searching is to learning the tricks of the trade, which you're talking about, is where can I find information? Because a lot of these jobs do not get widely disseminated. One of the problems is when you're an employer, you can get hundreds of applications. It's overwhelming. And some people use AI type of services to weed through them. Uh, it's not just how do you get applicants, it's how do you kind of control the amount of applicants you're getting. I've been on the employer side. I did the recruit. I was at NYU. Libraries for 25 years. I was, among other things, did all the interviewing. Now I had the staff that did it, but this is overwhelming dealing with the applications. There's a lot of work to get through them. So that's why it's really important that you learn how to present yourself most favorably, because you gotta you gotta compete with a lot of others.
Yeah, just to piggyback on that, I just wanted to say, like, don't be afraid to go for the job that you feel like you're not 100% ready for. Like, that's what I did. Like, I literally just applied and was like, I'm never going to hear back from this school. Like, I'm not even certified. Like, they're not even going to answer me. And I got a call like the next day and then like went in and just sold it. And I was like, I'm willing to do whatever it takes. Like I have such a passion. I was like, I'm a hobby librarian, like on the side. Like I do this for fun. Like this is where I want to be. Like I have a plan already. Like you just have to like be a part of my vision. Like I literally just sold it to them and was like, buy my product. My product is me. Like I will, you know, invest like on your investment and just go for it. Like I think, I don't know, sometimes I'll just be like, oh, I don't know like every single thing on this list. Like they put that laundry list of things that they want to have in a person. Like I feel like that's their wish list. Like, it's this one person that's going to do 25 bajillion jobs because that's the world we live in now. Like don't let that big list like scare you off. Okay. If you can do like 70% of the things on that list and you're teachable and pliable, because that's the field we're in. If I learned anything, like whatever you learn is just going to change in like 20 seconds from now.
Absolutely.
So, like, it doesn't honestly, I don't know, matter because like all you have to do is just be a lifetime learner and show them that like you have the gusto for it and the intelligence and the passion and just like take a leap of faith. I just wanted to put that out there because I know sometimes like you get like imposter syndrome and you feel like there's so many things, you don't do them all so well. Like just learn. It's okay.
So let me footnote that. Two things. First of all, if you've been in any forum with me, I stress how important it is to build your network. And that's why this group is so great. I have been the liaison, faculty liaison for several years now, and students who work together in LISSA tend to be, they create a great network and they stay networked. And, just addition to that, I am still in touch with people I went to library school with more than 50 years ago, and I haven't seen them, but we stay in touch. And it's a great network for you. So that's number one. And the network is a great way to find out about jobs and not only find out, but, have these discussions. But the second part, I will tell you, having been on the other side of the desk with so many applicants, I don't want somebody who's been doing this job because I'm thinking, if if you're already doing this job, why do you want this job? I want somebody who's gonna grow into the job and really run with it, not somebody who's been doing it all their life. So, I think it really builds on what you're saying. And the passion thing, be yourself. You're not there to answer questions like a school quiz. You don't have to tell them about every database or whatever. Tell them about why you want the job and show them that you've really, you know, researched to find out. People used to come to NYU, and the first thing I'd say to them, I got them first thing in the morning and last thing in the day. I'd say to them, what interests you about this job? And if they didn't tell me they were interested in NYU and had sort of researched it, first of all, living in New York, and Kayla can tell you this, if you're not ready for it and don't know what you're getting into, you don't want to offer somebody a job who then realizes I can't deal with this, right? But okay. But that aside, I want them to show that, NYU or Rutgers, Rutgers is a place that has this and that, and I am so excited about the possibility of working there. I mean, that may be a little extreme, but you want to show that you're really interested in the employer, not just let me tell you about myself, but demonstrate that you're interested in them. So, and as librarians at least, um, we can help you research who you're applying to, especially if you're researching businesses and, libraries as well. But there's a whole lot you can learn about a community, about the institution, about other people who've worked there. I mean, I strongly urge you, learn about the director, learn about other people who are there. What are their interests? Oh, they write in this area. See if they've written anything. And then you come in and you tell them, I read your article. I found it so interesting. Or it's one of the reasons that prompted me to apply. I think what you're doing here and what you wrote up about sounded like something that would really appeal to me. So have I sold you on me hiring me yet? So, but Alice, you sold me. I mean, you're totally on. Yeah. It's not really
Thanks.
not being afraid, but you're really selling an identity and a vision
Yeah,
of what.
I'm also like almost 40, so like I feel like I've just like got to the point in my life where like I'm not going to sugarcoat things. Like this is what I'm looking for. I've built confidence over time. Like I know what I bring to the table. Also, my resume was completely out of the box. Like I kind of did it as a joke to start, and then I was like, I'm gonna send this out and just see what happens. Like it's incredibly colorful. There's pictures of me like holding a stack of books, like looking like a YouTube like cover. And like I called myself like a literary aficionado. Like I like just was myself, but like, and I was like, I only want to get a job if they're going to take me as is. Like, this is what you get when you hire me. And if you're not into that, then I don't want to work here. So, like, I guess that's another thing I could say is just like, don't be afraid to like hold out for that place that's the right fit. Like maybe like interning and stuff, just get your feet wet. But like, I don't know, take chances, take risks. Life's too short. Go for it. Like the worst thing they'll just be like is no, we don't want it. And then just keep moving. Like just go for it. Get creative.
So we talked about having something related to careers later in the semester when some people will be looking for jobs. But maybe this is more of the kind of or event we ought to have is people telling their success stories, is us telling each other rather than hearing from professionals or duplicating what's already available. But I don't know how the rest of you feel, but it's really fascinating to hear people's success stories and what worked and what didn't work.
That's actually kind of what we did in Razzle the last meeting. I was we had some alumni come back and say, how the interview process was and how they're doing now and like what classes were really helpful. And I thought that
And
was
we
really
could get
great.
employers to come too, probably. I know we used to do that. Some of the Rutgers libraries would, they'd come and tell you what they were looking for when they were like on search committees, and maybe we could find some both sides. Yeah. So what kind of turnout do you get at Razzle meetings?
It's similar to this, maybe a
Oh,
little less. It depends on the day.
yeah, great.
Yeah, and I guess also just in that similar vein, as people are having to leave and everyone's enjoying the rest of their evenings, if you are interested in being, more involved outside of just attending meetings, but you want to help us plan and get speakers and be on sort of guiding of what we do for the next event and things like that, definitely reach out. Me, Ellen, Nancy, Peter, any of us, we're all happy to chat and we're happy to have people who want to help. We will, even if there's like not a position that's listed that you want, we'll make it one. We're happy to have everyone who wants to be involved.
I have a question. I live in Newark, so there's a Newark campus here. Are there anything that, like activities that we can do that's part of the department, but that's in Newark instead of traveling to New Brunswick, or would we have to travel to New Brunswick for these events and stuff like that?
If we plan something in person, we'll probably have to do some sort of like doodle poll or something just to see where most people are located. Because I do think there are a lot of pretty spread out students. Like I know Ellen's in Bucks County and I'm in New York. Like some people are in New Jersey, New Brunswick, everywhere. So we probably just have to get a consensus of like where most people could feasibly get to before we made any sort of decision of where we would do it. But yeah, I guess we could list the various, like that's definitely a location we could list as an option.
Thank you.
We used to do visits. And didn't well, the school library program, they just did a bus tour, right? Alice?
I believe there's like 3 different dates that you could have chosen for that. I don't have them in front of me, but I think there's some like still happening or yet to come in the
But
springtime.
But the school library program, because it certifies for New Jersey, tends to have more New Jersey, not solely. But our program, the other programs, people are not only spread out throughout the country, some of them are in other countries. So I've had one woman who was in Lebanon at a Syrian refugee camp in one of my classes. I had a woman from Fairbanks. I had a woman from Anchorage, lots from California, Colorado. So, you know, talk about where in New Jersey, it's sort of where in the world. So, yeah.
There are any other questions, definitely feel free to stick around. Otherwise, people can start popping off as we're almost at an hour, but it's cool to see in the chat where everyone is. I'm very intrigued by like what
Yeah.
brings people to
Well,
Rutgers.
Suffolk County, I mean, that's not that close. Yeah. Macomb County. That's not that close either, depending on what you call close, right? Yeah. So a couple of other topics as you've been talking. I mean, maybe it would be fun to do a program about going on these international trips, because Mark Aronson does them too. It's hearing more about those experiences. And those of us who've been involved with international, I mean, I worked with Russian libraries until February 23rd, 2022. Isn't that when Putin?
Yeah, yes,
Yeah.
correct. Yeah.
I've been working with them for years and have, spent time. I've worked all over the world with libraries, and it's amazing and hearing about this work, what it's like abroad. I think you guys would probably be real interested in. I know Lilia is very involved with IFLA, our international association, of which I've done some. I know that Denise she had a big project in Brazil that I think she's still involved with. So maybe putting that down on a possibility list of experiences traveling, through the program internationally, but also working internationally. One of my colleagues, before I was involved with the U.S.-Russia Library Dialogue, after she was a school librarian, and after she retired, she became the librarian for the American School in Moscow. She went for 2 years and stayed for 6. So lots of really interesting international stuff. I think she also did work in Ecuador and maybe Guatemala. So yeah, that might be an interesting topic.
I have a question for you. Have you ever visited the Vatican Library?
Me? I have been to the Vatican. I have not been to the Vatican Library. But, well, I shouldn't say that. If you go to visit the Vatican, you can go through parts of the library, but it's not the library. I mean, it's got all these manuscripts and, rare books that they put on display in exhibits. Like, I've been to the British Library, but I've only been to the exhibits in the British Library. I haven't been in the library, but I have been in the French, in the Bibliothèque Nationale, in both the old one and the new one. Yeah. And I've been in lots of other libraries around the world, which are really fascinating to go to.
I have a question. What about the Library of Congress? I think it's so fascinating to me.
You think it's what?
Fascinating, the Library of Congress.
Oh,
Have you been there?
I've been in out. I was president of the American Library Association. That's
That's
how I've
cool.
been. I mean, I was at the Library of Congress many times before I was president of LC. I mean, a president of ALA, but I've been in lots of parts of the Library of Congress, and I'm quite good friends with the librarian. She was also president of ALA, and I've known her for years. She's only the second librarian to be in that role, because they hardly ever pick librarians, and her term is up in 2026, so we don't have to get into that nomination issue right now. Just one more horrible thing. But yeah, the Library of Congress in the Jefferson Building is, if you've ever been there, is the most beautiful building, I think, in Washington. It is equally as beautiful as the Capitol, and right across the street. So yeah, and right behind it is the Shakespeare Library, which I've also been to, which is fabulous. Oh, it's
I never knew there was a Shakespeare library. Wow.
yeah, the Folger Shakespeare Library is fabulous. Yeah. But the old building, I mean, the new building of the Library of Congress, it has a restaurant on the top. So many of us, even if we're not going to the library, that's a good place to eat if you're going to Capitol Hill.
Definitely checking it.
A lot of people go in that building. It's a modern building. It's not, I mean, it's got lots of great stuff in it, but it's not like the architecture of the Jefferson Building that is just exquisite. So, yeah. the person who teaches collection development, she works at the Library of Congress. She worked with us at Rutgers Libraries, and she got her PhD in our program. But her job is at the library, and she was at Newark, by the way. She had a job at Rutgers Newark for a while, but then she got hired by the Library of Congress. So
what's her name? I want to look her up.
I know it really well, but let
it's
me see if my
Stephanie
brain.
Here,
What
I'll
do you
text
say?
it.
Can you
It's
put it in the chat?
Stephanie McKiddish is her last name.
Daphne
Yeah.
McKiddish.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
I just took the class, so that's why it's fresh in my mind.
Okay,
She was great. Yeah.
Thank you.
Did she talk much about LC?
She mentions it. Honestly, she talks more about the Rutgers Library because I
Yeah.
think that's sort of the way the class was designed and structured. But like at the end of the semester, she emailed me and she's like, reach out if you ever need anything. Like she's so supportive and really helpful when I reached out to ask questions and things like that.
So the other thing about the Library of Congress, which I've had an opportunity to also work with, it has the Congressional Research Service. It has the Copyright Office. It has the National Library for the Blind. So in addition to having the library, which is spread all over, I mean, they have lots of different buildings on Capitol Hill, but then in Maryland, they have facilities and an amazing preservation program where they have these big labs that do all this chemical stuff. But they also, the Congressional Research Service, I have lots of friends who work there, including another person who was president of ALA. They actually are the research arm for Congress. They have very tight relations with Congress. I mean, one of my friends was pretty hot. He was the Congressional Relations liaison, and I'd go visit him when I was in the building, and he'd get these phone calls from pretty big name senators, and I'd be sitting there as I'm, So yeah, I mean, they're definitely in all this. And just today, you probably don't follow this like I do, but one of the issues over what is legal relative to what our current president is doing. The report about its legality came from the Congressional Research Service. And if you take any classes with me, I use a lot of Congressional Research Service publications that are just fantastic, and they're just super solid because they have specialists in all subject fields. And so like when I teach intellectual freedom, their free speech stuff is great, and when I teach information policy, they're just extraordinary because they do these wonderful policy overviews for Congress that are just great for students to get an overview with, the real deal. They know how to find all those kinds of reports and documents that are very difficult to identify otherwise. So.
All right. Well, I guess thank you everyone for joining tonight. We're really happy to see all these new names and faces, and look out for an email from the LISSA listserv with our information about our next meeting. Again, right now, tentatively February 26th, but might push that back or forward a week if maybe we can get Denise's availability for a different Wednesday evening. So definitely be on the lookout for that. And again, feel free to reach out if you want to join and get more involved with us. So yeah, thank you so much for being here, for participating, and hope everyone has a good rest of their night.
Thanks. Nice meeting everyone.
Thank you. Have a good night.